This is a true horrifying story, part 34. I've been talking about horror stories for a while now. I've talked about jinn stories, serial killers, books that are involved in black magic, and haunted places, and all my horror content is based in the Middle East. But this time though, things have slightly changed. Ever since I started, my horror story videos blew up, and ever since I posted part 19, I got many message requests from sketchy Instagram accounts, and these accounts were telling me to stop talking about jinns and black magic. I don't know if it was or not, but I kind of felt like I was being warned. A few weeks later, after part 19, I eventually posted part 25. And in part 25, I spoke about one of the most dangerous books to read, Shams al-Ma'arif, an old ancient book that carries rituals for black magic. Right after that post, I was facing strange things. I suffered from nightmares. My nightmares were infested with crows. Every dream I would have had to have at least one crow in it. Mu'min Abu Mecca responded and confirmed the information I shared in part 25. And then he got his account banned on TikTok a few days later for more than a whole week. I don't know if this is the aftermath because we spoke about this book or not, but I am facing horror sometimes in my house, in my toilet, during the shower, and even before I sleep. And I'm still posting videos for my fans. Whether the jinns like it or not, I'm still going to expose and talk about black magic. I've had commentators that practice black magic. Wallah al-azim. I've also been threatened by many people that I'm gonna get the worst nightmares I have ever seen, just because I talked about this book. And it's also because I'm making the younger ones get closer to their prayers and their adhkar. Let me hit you guys on a quick secret. If you were not afraid, or seemed like you were not afraid, not even Iblis can possess you. You being from Ummat Muhammad are stronger than any demon that was ever created. And what I'm saying might piss these people and their beings off, but let me assure you, I'm a person that's not a sheikh, not an imam, nor a person that is 100% educated on the knowledge of Islam. But I can guarantee you this though, even if you were scared from the inside, but physically seemed like you were brave, I swear to God, they cannot do anything to you. I would sometimes shower and hear a woman in the same toilet speaking. I would sometimes sleep and feel like something or someone is sitting next to me. But I act like I didn't feel nothing, I didn't hear nothing. Was I supposed to stop when I got these threats because I was talking too much? No. I'm still gonna post for you guys and nothing can stop me. This is a true horrifying story, part 35. As much as this news hurts me, it may hurt you as well. This is the last episode of True Horrifying Stories, and there is a reason why. This is by far the most disturbing story I have ever read. I was not able to sleep last night after reading this story, so I am warning you. This story is extremely disturbing. This story took place on the April 1st of 2022. April Fools, bro! April Fools and Ramadan Kareem. I am never going to stop this series. Stay tuned for part 35 tomorrow. This is a true horrifying story, part 35. This topic is requested by many people. Who is Al-Masih Al-Dajjal? Al-Dajjal is the Antichrist in Islam. In Christianity, he's known as the false Messiah. He is a person, a human being. He will be the leader of the New World Order. His army are initially known as the Illuminati. It consists of many leaders, high net worth big ballers, and also famous people. They're being used as puppets to deceive people like you and I. Al-Dajjal is known to be very old. He's been around since the prophets. He is chained up on a deserted island that no one knows where it is. The Illuminati's task is to prepare for his arrival, and when he is out, he will cause complete destruction. He will deceive many people, making them believe that he is God. He will be worshipped by millions, if not billions of people, and his army will be indestructible. Only with God's will his chains will break, and when he comes he will have supernatural abilities. He will be able to control the weather, strike thunders, fly, and levitate objects. And he also has a one-time ability. God gave him that ability that he can do only one time. The people would go up to him and tell him, if you're a God, then prove it. He will slice a person in half and then bring his halves back together, and that person will live. The scary thing about Al-Dajjal is he's not only going to be worshipped by humans, he's also worshipped by jinns. He has a big army, including Iblis. He will shed blood on earth. He will kill every single being that does not call him God. He will travel the whole world in just 40 days. So wherever you are in the world, you will see him. Except for two places, Mecca and Medina. These are two places in the world the Dajjal will not step foot in, because Mecca and Medina are guarded by angels and they will not allow him in. They say that he will deceive Muslims as well, Muslims that pray 5 times a day. He'll make you think by worshipping him you'll get all the happiness in the world, and he'll shower you in gold. Only people with strong faith will be able to read the word kafir on his forehead. Us humans fear demons and jinns, but this human is feared and worshipped by demons. Now there is a way to prevent him from coming close to you, but I'll let the experts explain how that can be done in detail. There are many minor and major signs throughout time, signs of when the Dajjal will come. And I assure you, we are more than halfway through these signs. This is a true horrifying story, part 36. This story was narrated by a very well-known sheikh on the Merciful Servant YouTube channel. This channel is a legitimate source. They're based in the United States. This story took place in California many years ago. There is a sheikh in California that is known to be a very big raqi. He performed over 200 exorcisms on people that were possessed. He came across another sheikh, a friend of his, and this sheikh told him, "Listen, how do you believe in this stuff? Jinn possessions, black magic. This stuff doesn't exist. Jinns cannot possess humans." He didn't want to argue with him, so he let it be. One day, he took him to one of his patients that he's been treating for a while. A young Muslim woman possessed by 3 jinns. A jinn family that consists of a male, a female, and their young one. All 3 possessing this Muslim woman. After many exorcism sessions, that visit with the sheikh that didn't believe in such stuff was maybe the 4th visit. They go to her house and he prepared him with the ruqya. The sheikh that was in denial started reading Ayat al-Kursi. Ayat al-Kursi is a short verse from the Quran that we read after prayers. It protects us from the evil eye, demons, and black magic. The woman elevated 3 feet from the ground. The sheikh's hands started shaking as that happened. The family of the 3 jinns were talking to each other through this woman while the ruqya was being performed. The 3 jinns would shout and argue with each other whether they should leave her body or not. The sheikh skipped a verse from fear. Seeing this for the first time, he skipped a verse. The woman looked at him and turned her head 180 degrees, a movement that is physically not possible. He took a step back and was not able to continue. Eventually, the other sheikh stepped in and continued the exorcism on this woman. They left her house, and the sheikh that was in denial was sure that these things are in existence. This is a true short story that shows you a few of the many side effects that can happen during an exorcism. This is a true horrifying story, part 37. Who are Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, also known as Gog and Magog? These evil forces have been mentioned in the Quran, the Bible, and the Torah. Ya'juj is a tribe and Ma'juj is another tribe. They're both related. They existed close to the era of Moses, who is Musa alayhi salam. They are human beings that have been reproducing and increasing in number for thousands of years. They are the most barbaric and vicious humans that ever existed. They are cut off from mankind. They are nowhere close to any civilization. Some definitions have slightly proved that they may be located somewhere in the North Pole. And some modern theories state that there is a civilization in the North Pole that we never contacted before. They will come out one day, and they will destroy, rape, murder, kill, and eat everything around them. In all the sacred texts, they are defined in the same way. And many prophets have warned their people from Ya'juj wa Ma'juj. In Islam, it states that for every 1 Muslim, there are 999 Gog and Magogs. That's how big their population is. In the Bible, they're described as evil forces that will join Satan in the great struggle at the end of time. They are so many that one narration says, during their journey, they will pass by a lake in Palestine called Tabariya. They all start start drinking from this lake, till the ones that are far behind eventually catch up. There will be no water left, and one of them will say, there's meant to be a lake in this area. They were cut off from mankind during an era of a king named Dhul Qarnayn. Some people refer to him as Alexander the Great in other scriptures. He joined forces with other nations and built a wall. The whole wall was made of iron to block them from attacking mankind. They've been trapped between two mountains for thousands of years. However, the Prophet narrated that Ya'juj wa Ma'juj have broken a hole that is this big. No one knows how close they are today. The Quran also states that there will not be any army that can beat them. They will kill everybody. And after everyone's death, they will say, we conquered the inhabitants of the world. It's time to kill the inhabitants of the sky. They're talking about angels here. They will point their arrows to the sky and shoot. You don't have to be Muslim to believe what I'm saying. All sacred texts, all religions, have warned people about Ya'juj wa Ma'juj. The day they come out is a curse for every human being that will be alive. This is a true horrifying story, part 38. Some of you may find this very scary, but I honestly cracked up for the first time hearing a jinn story like this. This story took place in Qatar in the year 2004-2005. Now I cannot use the real names of these people, so I'm just going to introduce them as Ahmed and Abdullah. Now Ahmed is the person that told me this story. He's a 65-year-old ex-military Qatari man. He's best friends with Abdullah ever since they were recruited in the military at the age of 18. Till this very day, both being in their 60s. Back in 2004-2005, they were both in their 40s. High ranked in the military. Now Abdullah's father passed away, Allah yarhamah, a couple of years after the story happened. Abdullah's father was an old man that dealt and cooperated with jinns. But he never hurt people, nor did black magic or anything like that. He just dealt with them for his own benefit or his own pleasure. One day, Ahmed and Abdullah were out cruising on a day off late at night in the winter. They picked up some tea and cigarettes and they parked in a deserted old parking lot. Ahmed notices a creepy black cat just chilling next to some bushes, and this cat was just staring at them the whole time they were outside drinking tea. He tells Abdullah and he points at the cat. Abdullah puts a smirk on his face. He goes to the back of the car and pulls out a loaded double-barrel shotgun. He takes 2 shots at the cat, but apparently he misses. The cat just scampered away. 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes later, they both hop in the car and Abdullah gets an international call on his mobile. He picks up and it's his father speaking. His father called from London. He was at London at the time. Abdullah, what the heck have you done? What did I do? What the heck have you done? Yuba, what have I done? He says, the individuals that I'm friends with told me that you tried to kill one of their sons. You almost killed a jinn, and they told me to warn you, because the next time you try harming any of them again, they will take your life. He freaked out. He knows his father's little secret that he does with the jinns. The cat was a jinn. Took them minutes to pass the message from the Middle East to London, and surprisingly, they let it slip. This is for real. Don't mess with stray animals, especially at night. This is a true horrifying story, part 39. The birth of Satan, Iblis. In other sacred texts, he's known as Lucifer. Non-Muslims refer to him as a fallen angel, but Muslims believe that he was never an angel. Angels are made from nur. Iblis was made from fire. Therefore, he is a jinn. He is the biggest jinn, the strongest jinn. And God had so much love for Iblis that he lifted him and he was valued amongst the angels. And then Adam was created, the first human being. Iblis was jealous. God ordered all beings to do sajda for Adam. Out of all beings, Iblis was the only one that refused. And he said, I was made from fire. This being was made from dirt. I will prove to you that Bani Adam is not the righteous being. Adam, Eve, Iblis, and the angels all lived in paradise. Everyone was banned to eat fruit from a specific tree. Iblis manipulated Adam and Eve and they ate from that tree. They had to face consequences, so they were all kicked out of heaven. And that is why people call Iblis a fallen angel. He was never an angel. Iblis asked God if he can have an eternal life, so he can prove that humans are sinners. And that's his task. This is what he lives by. This is the birth of Satan. He gathered the shaitans, and now he has an army. He is the leader of all demons, and he will be the only being on earth that dies last. Iblis today sits on a throne. Nobody knows where he's located. However, in an authentic hadith sahih, the Prophet said that his throne is on water. So we don't know where, but we do know that he's somewhere far in the ocean. There's a short story of a French Arab woman that was possessed by a very powerful jinn for many years. The toughest sheikhs carried exorcisms to treat this woman. But before they kicked the demon out, the sheikhs wanted to ask a few questions. They asked the jinn, "Where is Iblis located?" Without a hesitation, the jinn responds, "We visit Iblis in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle." Some scientists have said, but still did not prove, that the Bermuda Triangle has a magnetic field that caused all these ships and planes to disappear. Now that's just a theory. Now legitimately speaking, a demon has spoken, and he exposed the location of where his leader possibly stays. But could it be Iblis? It is far beyond a question mark. It is in fact a section in the ocean that will kill you if entered. This is a true horrifying story about the most dangerous game to play. And no, it is not the Ouija board. This game is called the Corners game. People sent me a podcast video of two guys explaining how it's done. I've heard of this game a while ago, but since people are talking about it now, I'd love to step in. I genuinely warn you from playing this game, because it is extremely dangerous whether it was done right or wrong, and it does involve summoning an evil presence. Even if I didn't explain to you guys how it's done, you guys are probably gonna Google it either ways. The Corners game is a summoning ritual. In Islam, it is equivalent to practicing black magic. You need 4 participants. No additional players are allowed in the room. A room with 4 corners. No more, no less. All the lights in the room must be switched off. All players must enter the room one by one, speaking their name out loud 3 times. One principal is appointed as the speaker. The speaker stays in the middle of the room, and the remaining 3 players must pick a corner each and face the wall. The door should be shut, and when everyone is inside, no one is allowed to speak. When everyone is in position, the speaker counts to 3. And on 3, all participants must rotate clockwise to the next corner. Now there are 4 other procedures that I don't wish to explain further. But throughout the game, remember, there's always one empty corner. Now people say that one of the principals may disappear. But one thing for sure, an entity in the shape of a figure will appear in one of the corners. There is an emergency procedure of calling your name backwards, but I don't know if that will avoid getting you injured. A group of guys from Japan have played this game. No one disappeared in thin air after the game was done. However, one of the players never seemed the same after playing this game. During their 3rd rotation, they saw a figure move in one of the empty corners. The figure is a jinn, and jinns feed off from empty corners. That is what we know of them in Islam. In households, jinns camp in corners, ceilings, or even toilets. The player that is in most fear will be possessed. And the player that was possessed from playing this game passed away a couple of years later. They were all young men in their late 20s. Sometimes dangerous rituals are commercially sold as games, such as the Ouija board. But they are just dangerous portals. You are literally creating a portal from the jinn world to your own room by playing such games. I didn't even explain how the game is done. If you Google the rest of the procedures, that's your responsibility. Stay away. This is a true horrifying story that took place in Zarqa, Jordan. Muhammad, a 19-year-old Jordanian, back in 2011, he was hanging around the neighborhood with his friends. A 40-year-old looking man pulls up in his car right next to where they're sitting. He looks out the car, points to Muhammad, and asks him to come. Muhammad at 19 was a tall and muscular young man. So he goes to him, and the man seemed very friendly. They chit-chat for around 10 minutes. Now put in mind, that man is a stranger. He asks Muhammad, "Hop in my car, let's go to my place. I'll show you my house." Muhammad was shocked and creeped out. He thought that man may have been interested in a young muscular man like himself. But he also felt confident, because he knew if things went wrong in that man's house, he could take him down. Muhammad looks at the back of the car and he noticed a black dog. Muhammad loves dogs so much, he said, "You have a dog." And the man replied, "I have a lot more dogs at my house." They hop in and they reach the man's house. And Muhammad says, "I saw the most unusual antiques I have ever seen." He had a cross statue right next to an Islamic one. He had a maid that looked very unusual and she did not speak a word. It was so strange. The same dog that was in the car was on the couch, just chilling there. He immediately knew what kind of man he was. He faked a phone call and he told the man that he has a family emergency and he dipped. Muhammad went back home and saw his mom. He told her everything and she did not take it easy. She was so furious that this happened to her son. She grabbed a small bottle of water and she forced Muhammad to take her back to that same house. They reach outside the gates and she asks Muhammad to open the door. At this point, it's pretty much impossible to control a mother that's furious about her children being in danger. She walks in, she sees the dog and the maid. She sprays the water she had in the man's house. The dog and the maid vanish. The old man starts screaming his lungs out. "Please, please, I will not come anywhere close to your son again. Please stop." She leaves with Muhammad and in the car she tells him, "That man is a sahir, a black magician. The black dog is a ashiq of yours. She's been wanting you for a while. She couldn't come inside the house because our house is blessed. The black dog was a jinn and the maid was a jinn. The only way she could come to you is through that sahir." Muhammad is 30 years old today. He lived in Europe, he lived in Jordan, he lived in Dubai, and in every country he's been to, he still sees that same black dog watching him from a distance. This is a true horrifying story which covers more about the Dajjal. For those who don't know who the Dajjal is, please refer to part 35 for a detailed explanation. A summary of part 35, Dajjal is a human being. He either lived for more than 1,000 years or he will be born one day. In other religions, he is known as the Antichrist, the false Messiah. The Dajjal is a master deceiver. He will make people think he's God. In Judaism, the false Messiah that is yet to come is believed to be the real Christ. Most of mankind will be deceived thinking he is God. Most of mankind will be his followers. They are unbeatable. In many ahadiths, the Prophet said that the Dajjal will have supernatural abilities. But back then, they might have been supernatural. But with today's technology, these abilities are very doable. In one narration, it said that the Dajjal will cloud up the sky and pour rain. Another one says the Dajjal will be riding on something that flies. These narrations were said 1,400 years ago. Both of these abilities with modern technology are possible. So we don't really know if the Dajjal has legitimate power or if he'll be using modern technology to deceive people. When the Dajjal is out, he will force people to worship him. And if you refuse, your money, your income, and your food will be taken. But how can this be? How can the Dajjal empty my bank account? You're thinking, no one has access to our money, right? But this is the thing. There is a new global integration that was discussed among political leaders and big firms. A global blockchain integration was announced, a new invention for money. All the money sometime in the future will be purely digital. No more banknotes, no more cash. Every single transaction will be traced. And all governments will use the same integrated system that has access over everyone's money. Now, this technology may sound good, but it also may be very bad. Because with a click of a button, boom, all your money can be taken away. This is far beyond creepy. Because when the Prophet spoke about this ability, where the Dajjal can make your money vanish, the Sahabas couldn't comprehend it. But thinking about it now, while we are in the future, it all makes sense. The Dajjal is very, very close. All the major signs of his arrival have happened. The technological abilities, the fasad, the new world order. He is coming, and only one person can save us. This is a true horrifying story, part 43. I know I've been gone for a few days, but I came to Germany for a quick holiday. This is more on the Bermuda Triangle, one of the strangest, most horrifying places on earth. In part 39, I spoke about how the throne of Iblis may be on the Bermuda Triangle. Let's forget about Iblis now. The news have stated that 50 ships and 20 airplanes have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. But how is it defined by scientists? Some scientists have said that it is common for big natural storms to hit that side of the ocean. Therefore, the ships and the planes were destroyed from these storms. And others say that there might be a magnetic force under the water which may attract many compounds. A pilot by the name Bruce Gernon flew over the Bermuda Triangle on December 1970. Bruce was flying through a big cloud, and the instruments in the plane stopped functioning properly. 30 minutes later, Bruce flew through another cloud, and he realized that this cloud was the same cloud he went through 30 minutes ago. The clouds started to tunnel around the plane, and then minutes later, he made it through. But not just made it through. He arrived at his destination being 2 hours early. The time span above the triangle was supposed to be a flight of 2 hours, but apparently it took this pilot 2 minutes to cross over. Now in Islam, and a couple of ahadith sahihah, the Prophet said that Iblis, who is known as Lucifer, is on water. His throne is on water. There's also another recording of a pilot that also flew over the triangle, and before this pilot disappeared, he tried explaining what he was seeing, but it was too late. On the radio, he said that he was flying through black smoke. He couldn't see anything, but when he was able to see, he saw a lot of strange things that are not humane. If you somehow come close to the throne of Iblis, you will probably not survive. No one can 100% guarantee that the Bermuda Triangle is the throne of Iblis. But strangely, this part of the ocean has taken many lives. And let's not forget this. Many of you might not know this. We have explored only less than 5% of the whole ocean. It is a world way bigger than ours. And I can confirm that Iblis lives somewhere in that world.